Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another video. This is the second part of the video series. If you haven't watched the first part of the video series, I'll put the link in the description. Go and check it out. In this video, we are going to talk about what is the program look like in Michigan Tech University of electrical engineering and specialization in autonomous systems and autonomous controller system and all of that. In the next part, we're going to talk about jobs and internship at Michigan Technology University. Now, I'll let you enjoy the video. Now, I want to know what is the autonomous engineering like, what exactly it is about, like, because I think a lot of people don't even know from the course, like what do you become after that? What do you learn out of that? What
Right.
industry it is?
Right. So, autonomous systems applies to a wide domain where you basically automate, you build stuff that doesn't rely on human help. So essentially, like it covers both an industry like chemical plants, let's say, for example, right, where you automate the processes so that you don't really have a human all the time that has to monitor the processes. So it's got a lot to do with control systems. It has got a lot to do with power systems. And then the specific part of that domain, what I'm focusing on is autonomous vehicles. So I'm pretty sure people have come across some news or the other of autonomous vehicles. So I'll actually describe a couple of subjects, and I know it's going to sound a lot familiar to people who might be wondering how to get into autonomous systems or autonomous vehicles in general, right? Some of the courses that I took in fall, for example, were linear control systems. There was a wireless sensor network, and then I took in-vehicle communication. So essentially, for autonomous vehicles, what you need to understand is the fact that there are sensors that help a vehicle to navigate and make sense of the environment around it, right? So you need to be able to understand how to work with sensors, how those sensors communicate with each other, and how the processors are going to make the decisions, right? So you've got control systems courses which teach you essentially how to make those decisions. You've got classes like embedded systems and in-vehicle communication that teach you how you can use those sensors and what kind of data they give and how they're going to communicate with each other, to provide that data.
Right. That is
So
so
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and then you have subjects like wireless sensor networks that kind of teach you how to get that data from a vehicle to the cloud, or to any central entity that kind of makes all those decisions and that brings together all that computing. So you kind of take all those subjects and then you start seeing all that connection. You start connecting all those dots and you start figuring out how this is what I want to do, and this is how I'm going to figure out how the system works. So yeah.
Right. And just to simplify, because I'm not from this industry and I'm trying to, kind of make sense what are you talking? It's super technical. And for people might have already clicked off of this video because
Oh, okay. I'm so sorry
but
about that.
no. I this is what our brand is, our community is. We go into detail, we provide the value, right? So
Right.
I'm just trying to understand. So for example, I'm taking best example which I can relate to this is Tesla.
Okay.
They have
Yep.
so many sensors, right?
Right.
And the very and my car, which is Honda, it also has this lane detection sensors,
Yep.
right? So it's basically focusing on those two white lanes and making sure that it's there. And as soon as you drift out of that lane, it starts to vibrate your steering wheel. So
Yep.
that's basically what you're saying. Is that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a spot on example. So the lane changing system that you talked about, the lane detection system. So all of that falls kind of under the ambit of subjects that are related to image processing and sensing and processing for robotics. So that was one of the courses that I took that dealt with all this visual aspect, like cameras detecting stuff, detecting people, other vehicles, and then allowing your vehicle to make decision based on those detections that, okay, this is a decision that we have to make. There's a car right ahead of us, so we have to brake a little, we have to go a little slower. And so yeah.
Yeah, like cruise control, for example.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
one of
is
the subjects.
cool. I mean, I'm so happy that I learned something. This is awesome. Very, very, very impressing. I hope people who are from electrical engineering and they get this idea that there's something. Because for me, whenever I used to think about electrical engineering or computer engineering, I would always think about networking, which is like internet and system admin kind of thing, system engineering type of thing, or I would think like cloud engineers or Amazon Web Services. But this is totally different, which is so much more interesting. I hope you get a. I don't know if you want to work in Tesla, but I hope if you do want to work in, I hope you get it.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at one opportunity right now. I'm probably going to apply to it in a couple of days. It's a co-op for the upcoming fall semester. So I'm looking to apply there for that. It's like a perfect role for me, and I'll be done with my summer internship as well. So let's see.
Yeah, and before even I ask you what's the future and scope of this field, I am going to jump and say this: there is so much scope in this because industry is moving to automation and electric car and hybrid vehicles, and US is definitely go wanna be the first one. I know this it's not yet, but it is going to be Tesla. There are so many competitors now of Tesla who are building this, so I think you people are gonna ask in comments and like is there any demand? So I'm gonna say that yes, there is demand. Don't think twice. Now let me ask you, like, what do you think? There's scope or future in this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I agree with you. The potential for this field is it's like it's just in its nascent phases right now, right? It's still in the beginning phases where there's a lot of scope for research, right? So there's a lot of demand for people who have like any hands-on work experience with just whether it be working with sensors or being able to work on the network part, like you said, right? So I know a lot of people have this perception that electrical engineering and computer engineering, it's all about working on power systems and stuff, but there's pretty interesting stuff like robotics as well that you can be a part of. And I have been a part of robotics clubs in my college, so I knew that was definitely a possibility. And one more thing that I would like to push people's attention to, and they might not be aware of this, is the fact that uh, for the next step of evolution for autonomous vehicles, it's connected and autonomous vehicles. So people generally know about autonomous vehicles, but what they don't know that US has had implement like they have implemented connected vehicle system as well, wherein vehicles can talk to each other. And not a lot of people are aware about these kind of courses because there's a huge market for
What
these
what,
jobs.
what is? Can you give like a
Yeah.
layman example for connected vehicles? What does that
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. So it's like in the US. So I'll just use one technological jargon, okay?
Oh,
Because
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So what US did was they implemented a dedicated short range communication. This technology stack, what it does is it enables one vehicle to talk with the other vehicle. So what happens is I'll paint out a picture for people to imagine you have a vehicle that is going around a turn, right? And because of the buildings or any other obstacles, they aren't able to detect that if some other vehicle might be around the corner, right? So autonomous vehicles in that case would need a bunch of additional sensors to be able to figure that out in time to be able to safely make a decision whether to brake or move on. Because again, US traffic laws, they're pretty it's up to interpretation to some people as well. So what connected vehicles can do is you have certain radios on board that communicate to another let's say let's say a hardware stack that is deployed on the roadside curbside, right? And it what it does is it communicates with the vehicle sends it a message that okay, this is my location right now, I'm approaching this blind spot right now. And at the same time, other vehicles in the area would be communicating with that roadside unit as well. So that roadside unit knows that these two vehicles might potentially collide, whereas these two vehicles might not be aware of it. So what this roadside unit does is it tells the other vehicles that okay, there is another vehicle that is around the blind spot and you might not know it. So we are telling you beforehand so the vehicle can make decisions or it can alert the driver to make those decisions.
That is so awesome, man. This is
Yeah.
so cool. I I feel like I'm talking to some guru over here. I hope. I mean, I know that you've already gotten an internship, and we're gonna talk about that a lot. But you totally deserve it. You talk sense. I hope when we upload this on LinkedIn, people reach out to you and ask all these questions, and recruiters reach out and man, you're so talented. We want you in our company. I hope that happens to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. So how's the coursework and professors? So I know that you said you like the coursework. How's the
Yeah.
professors? Like, do you like them? What do you think about the coursework?
So
Like
in
people
general,
should
yeah.
people when if they want to apply for Michigan Tech, should they consider coming there?
Okay. So I'll answer your question, your last question first. Like what people should look for if they're, trying to make a decision whether they want to come to Michigan Tech or not. So Michigan Tech has like it's like an underdog. It's like SJSU. Okay. So what happens is Michigan Tech has a really strong curriculum when it comes to the automotive industry because it being closer to Detroit and which is the automotive hub. So there are a lot of courses here that are like really have a really strong curriculum, and the fact that people who work in these companies, they have really strong ties to Michigan Tech because a lot of people who work around the Detroit area, they have graduated from Michigan Tech, and they love to come back to the career fair and hire people from here. So if you're looking to work in any part of the automotive industry, I would definitely recommend coming here because it's one of the colleges where you get your value for money. Okay, that is one of the most important things for international students, getting your money's worth, right? It's a small campus, you have a lot of on campus job opportunities. You can you don't really have to work, think a lot in terms of on campus jobs and studies. Next, I'll move on to the quality of courses. So like any of the courses that I've taken so far, I don't feel like I shouldn't have taken those courses, or I feel as if it did not add any value to what I already knew. All of the courses, being the fact, considering the fact that they were master's level courses, they were well designed. The professors, they even if I felt that I lagged behind somewhere in some subjects in terms of the theoretical concepts that I was trying to learn, the professor supplemented it with practical examples and how we would actually apply those technologies and whatever we were learning to the practical world. So it in the end, it made sense to me taking those courses. And most of the courses here are like that because they're when it comes to especially like mechanical engineering and electrical engineering, most of the courses are centered around the automotive industry, and people come here especially for that. So it makes sense if you want to come here for this. But then there are some other great courses that I know as well, like other degrees that people can pursue as well. I would say that they have a very great biotechnology program as well. Their biology department is really strong as well. So yeah, I mean, if you're considering, you can reach out to me and I can help you reach out to other people who might be better suited to talk to you about them.
Yeah, yeah. Now let's talk about internships because I know you got one. Super, super
Yeah.
happy. Congratulations. I know we were talking about that, and so how did you start your internship? How's the internship like? Is there job market in that in your city itself?
uh,
For sharing your journey. I'll leave his LinkedIn description.